Hello. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Hello. So this is my first stream ever. I've never done one. I don't know really what I'm doing. Can those of you who are I can't even see how many people are on. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I definitely can't see that. Can you hear me okay? Like, is the sound coming through all right? Perfect. Can you hear my children in the background? Like that. That is my baby. This is exciting. Declan, what does 5x5 mean? Hi, gay. I'm so used to hearing birds. I thought it was outside my window. My baby, he is 7.5 months old. We're still in that phase where you measure months in halves, but we're beyond the point where you measure in weeks. But he has gotten to this stage where he just wants to scream. Ah! Like he's discovered he can make. Oh, thank you. That's helpful, Declan. Thank you. He's just discovered that he can make loud, high-pitched noises, and then when he does make them, he notices that he gets attention. So he does them over and over and over and over again, and it's kind of turned into a really cute thing. So that's what you hear him doing in the background. Is he's actually in the living room. There's a door closed, and there's the pocket door from our kitchen is also closed, but it's so loud that it's just piercing through. Yeah, the power of the vocals. So if you guys didn't know this, my wife is a vocalist. We met at church. She was leading worship. I was playing drums, and that's how we met. That was 15 years ago. I can tell the dating story if you guys are interested. But we did have questions that were submitted, and I'm also being cognizant and aware that this will also live in perpetuity on the channel for somebody to watch after we close down the live stream. So I did have questions come in, and if there's any questions that you have, we're doing a family fireside chat. We're just chilling, we're hanging out, fireside chat. So if there's anything that you want to ask about, if there's anything that you want to know about, anything that you are curious about, I'm happy to answer those. I'm a pretty open book, but I wanted to use this as an opportunity to see what the live stream looks like, because we're inching closer and closer to that 10,000 subscriber landmark, and I really want to make a big deal out of it. So I'm exploring some different softwares and setups to make a potential 10,000 subscriber live stream party as engaging and exciting as possible. So this is just my first attempt at doing so, and I'm going out of town for a few weeks, and all the videos that you guys are going to see over the next couple weeks, I've already recorded. So not a whole lot of new stuff from me. I usually record every Saturday and then schedule them for the week. I did like a 4-hour recording session yesterday, and I'm doing an editing session today to get them scheduled for the next 3 weeks. Children are like angels. As the legs get longer, their wings grow shorter. Man, isn't that funny how we spend that first year or two encouraging them and saying yes and they're cute, and then as soon as they start walking and opening up their mouths, we're like, no, stop. Like we slow them down. This is fun. This is awesome. Okay, I'm going to get to the questions that were already sent in. If you do have any questions, drop those in the chat. I'm reading it. I can see it right here. I also have the Discord up. If you're over in the Discord, I have that up as well. If you want to throw your questions like either in the general or the announcement channel over there. So the first question is from TJH5716. He says, "What is your connection to Pittsburgh and or the Steelers? I'm from the Burgh and just interested." So my connection to Pittsburgh is I've never lived there. I was never born there. I wasn't born there, and I've never lived there. However, my dad was born and raised in a town called Turtle Creek, Pennsylvania, which if you live there, you probably know where that is. And he grew up an avid Pittsburgh Steelers fan, went to games growing up. And when him and my mom met, they met at the Great Lakes Navy Base in northern Illinois. They were both stationed there for the Navy. And then they got married, and then they were stationed in Annapolis, Maryland, where I was born. I was born in Bethesda. And then a year later, they were restationed down to Charleston, South Carolina. In 1989, those who were around back then, that is when Hurricane Hugo hit the East Coast, which was the largest recorded hurricane on record up to that point. It destroyed our house. Charleston is actually where my younger brother was born in 89. And, the hurricane destroyed our home. And then my parents were stationed in Rota, Spain. So we got to live in Spain for about a little over 3 years before they were getting close to retiring from the Navy, and they wanted to retire in the place where they started. So they were restationed back in the Great Lakes Navy Base in northern Illinois, which is where I spent the bulk of my childhood until college, when I moved to southern Illinois to study music, which is going to lead into another question about my relationship with music. But I say all that to say, my mom wasn't really a big football fan. My dad, he bled black and gold. And because we didn't really live anywhere long enough to have any sort of allegiances, and we lived smack dab in between Bears fans and Packers fans, and I had been basically propagandized on all of the Pittsburgh Steelers, like old film. My dad raised me like watching old games. We watched the game every Sunday if you could, right? And so I fell in love with the franchise, fell in love with the players. I started like really paying attention to the Steelers back when Cordell Stewart was their quarterback, after he stepped up from running back to lead the team for a couple of years. And then actually my first year that I went to college, I moved all the way across the state, like I said, from northern to southern, literally from the north to the south. And that was the first year that Ben Roethlisberger started. And Big Ben, right up here, number 7. And he took the team 14-0 that year. And this was before like smartphones and text messaging and, video over internet. My dad and I had this thing where every touchdown that they would score, I would call him and just say touchdown, right? Well, like I said, they went 14-0 that year. So because they scored so many touchdowns, I called my dad a lot from college, whether it was at my girlfriend's house, my dorm room, whatever it was. And that really kind of really solidified the Steelers for me, because it kind of became like an extension of our family, kind of a weird thing. But fast forward to today, I still love watching the sport of football. It's my all-time favorite sport to watch. And anytime I can catch a Steelers game, I'm catching it. I'm excited about the season. I'm excited about Wilson. I'm excited about Fields, and excited that Tomlin continues to be our coach. He's a great NFL coach. But that's I guess the short story of my connection to the Steelers. Let me catch up on some of the comments. Hello, Germany. Hi, no name. And Nicholas says, I'm waiting for more Dirty Loops reactions. Yes. We have a few. I think we're up to 7 or 8, I think, at the moment. But yes, I am trying to weasel back in Dirty Loops as much as I can. There's like so much new stuff that we're doing that I'm trying to figure out this like beautiful balance of how do we introduce new artists, explore artists we've already been exposed to, and then kind of keep adding some new stuff without like interrupting and getting all sidetracked all the way. But yes, more Dirty Loops is on the way. Let's see. I'll get back to the questions that were sent in, but Declan said, "Hey, do you think it's about time Tom Brady invested in proper football? You know, the English game. You know, I actually don't know the history on how. I don't know the history on how the American sport of football came to be called football. I actually don't know that. I know that we took a lot of things from your country, including our country, but the U.S. is very good at borrowing and claiming as their own, except for jazz. Jazz belongs to us. Okay. Kristen King asked, out of all the artists you react to, who would you most like to see in concert and why? This is really tough because there's been so many great artists on the channel. But if I had to pick one that I want to see the most, number one, I would love to see Nightwish. I feel like that would just be an epic, epic show. Close second is probably Dirty Loops. And then a very close third, actually, might surprise you guys. I would love to see Aurora. A bucket list item of mine that unfortunately I will never be able to check off is I have always wanted to see Celine Dion live when she had her show in Vegas. And since she doesn't perform anymore, I won't be able to see that. I am a closet Celine Dion fan. I don't have like shirts and tattoos and stuff like that, but I absolutely love her, just her humanness, her voice is incredible. When I watched her, what's that cover that she did? Celine Dion. I think she did a cover of a Queen. Oh yeah, when I watched her on the Grammys do a cover of "The Show Must Go On" by Queen, at that moment she made my bucket list. I was like, I have to see this lady live. I never made it out to Vegas. I've never been to Vegas, but unfortunately, that's one. But I would like to see. Okay, so in order: Nightwish, Dirty Loops, Aurora, probably top 3. Ren. Okay, Declan says Ren has no copyrights. All his videos can be played completely. FYI. Yeah. So there's a couple of artists that actually don't copyright block your music reactors videos on purpose. Ren is one of them, and Ren takes it a step further. I'll tell you how he does it. Ren doesn't. Aurora doesn't. Falling in Reverse doesn't. Dirty Loops doesn't. Nightwish doesn't. And in fact, most of those artists, Ren, Aurora, Nightwish, they take it a step further. They actually allow people like us to monetize our videos. And how they do that is you got, like all the YouTube videos have ads and stuff, right? I'll get an email saying this artist wants to share revenue with you. So for me, over on my side, it shows that ad revenue is split 50-50 between me and Nightwish, or me and Ren, or me and Aurora, or me and Ronnie Radke. Those are those are decisions that those artists have opted into, sharing that revenue stream with us because they recognize the power of the reaction community in getting their music out to new ears and new eyes. So I thought that was pretty cool. That was very unexpected. I didn't start this channel to make money, just started it for fun, but that's a really, really neat thing that they do. Okay. Golden Curl says some history shows that soccer was called soccer before it was called football. I will defer to the Englishman for that one. Nightwish and Lorna Shore. I don't know if I could like physically handle a Lorna Shore concert in my age. I just turned 38 like a month ago. Now I used to go to shows and mosh with the best of them, man. Lamb of God was probably like the most intense concert I'd ever been to with regard to that. But I would definitely be the guy at a Lorna Shore show, like in the back, just watching and hanging out. I wouldn't be participating in all the activities. Gray Squirrel says Aurora is a fantastic show. Excited to see her in November. Okay, so Jelly Roll, Declan. That video with Falling in Reverse was legitimately the first time I'd ever heard of the guy. But now I'm interested because people in the comments said that he started off as a rapper, which would make sense given his look. But that could be interesting. I really don't like country music. So if it's like more upbeat rock and roll type country, I think I could get into it. But I'm down to check him out. Yeah. Antal? Am I saying that right? Hi from the Netherlands. Hello from Texas. Hi, Michael. Gay says, I'm old and creaky and my days of concerts are just about over, but if Nightwish ever tours again, I'm going, even if I have to use a wheelchair. Okay. There's a couple more questions here. I'm going to go back to the ones that were submitted real quick. So speaking of Gay, she says, how and when did you get interested in music? Did you take lessons and or have any formal training? Cool. That's a good one. How and when did I get interested in music? I've always been interested in music. My parents have pictures of me when I was a young lad. They bought me one of those stand-up like fake toy microphones, but it had a real speaker, so I guess a little bit of noise came out of it. And apparently, like my favorite song to sing when I was 3-4 years old was Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. They said I would walk around the house with my microphone singing that all the time. I don't sing. Kristen, thanks for being here. Yes, you can finish watching it later. Thank you for being here though, and for spending your break with us. Appreciate that. So I would sing that. I'm not a vocalist today. I've been part of like barbershop quartets, but I'm not like a lead vocalist. So I've been interested in music from a very young age. My grandfather on my mom's side, he was a musician and he traveled the country playing gospel music. My mom and dad, like my mom sang in the church choir. My dad has zero music ability whatsoever. But actually what inspired me to pick up a pair of drumsticks was a gentleman, the old drummer for the Tonight Show, Marvin Smitty Smith. If you know who he is, drop the word Smitty down in the comment or in the chat. Marvin Smitty Smith. I watched that guy play drums on the Tonight Show, and I told my mom and dad, I want to do that. So we went to the music store, and I got this like really old, warped pair of drumsticks, and I would pound on everything. And then, school comes, and in 5th grade, we were asked to basically pick an instrument. So we're trying out all the instruments. And oddly enough, I actually picked the trumpet. And for like 3 months, I played the trumpet and I came home crying most days because my mom was like, "Why are you crying?" And I tell her, I was like, because I want to play the drums. I don't want to play the trumpet. I don't want to play the trumpet, but they need trumpet players. They have too many drummers." And my mom's like, "Who cares what they need? Just like do what you want to do. Like pick up take the trumpet back, go get the snare drum." I'll tell you what though, this is back in the day when they made you carry your snare drum to school. And those things are heavy. There's like 50 pounds. These things are heavy and they're in a big like plastic fold up case with a handle, and then your sticks, and then your music stand. And it's like, oh my gosh. So twice a week we'd have lessons in fifth grade. And then how that moved is Gay also asked, did you take lessons or have any formal music training? So in sixth grade, I started taking private lessons with a gentleman named Brian Choppy Massimo. Goes by Choppy. Great dear friend, amazing influence on my life, incredible musician, even better human being. Choppy is his name. So I started taking lessons with him in sixth grade. And then in high school, my sophomore year of high school, he was in the local chamber orchestra. They asked me to play a concert. The concert that we played with at that time, it was called the Zion Chamber Orchestra up in Northern Illinois. Now it's called the Lake County Symphony Orchestra. That was like my first professional gig with a professional orchestra. And I played a piece called oddly enough, the piece is called A Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra by Benjamin Britten. Highly recommend checking out that piece. It's amazing. A Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra by Benjamin Britten. And afterwards, the conductor, Ron Arden, asked me, would you consider being a permanent member of the Zion Chamber Orchestra? Like, I'm still in my tuxedo. The concert has ended. My parents are with me saying, this was so fun. Congratulations. And then Ron and Choppy and my band director at the time, who was also in this, Mark Reimer, approached me and asked me if I wanted to be a permanent member. So I played with the Zion Chamber Orchestra all through high school, even into my first couple of summers that I'd come back from college. Also played with the Waukegan Symphony Orchestra in the next town over. Played with a lot of different groups growing up in the Northern Illinois area, from rock bands to, the professional orchestras, chambers, symphonies. And then then in college, I stopped taking lessons with Choppy because now I actually went to college for music education. And I started taking lessons with a gentleman named Jerry Bolin, who played drums for a long time for a gentleman named Paul Simon. And then before that, played drums for a little old band called Survivor. Jerry Bolin also, what most people don't know from his time over there, is that he also played with the St. Louis Symphony for decades. And I took lessons with Jerry Bolin for all 4 years of college. Unfortunately, Jerry passed away about 5 or 6 years ago. Very sad. So I took private lessons between sixth grade through college. So what is that? 11-ish years is how long I took private lessons, but formal music training was basically high school and in college, since I was studying music education in college. Okay. Before I get to the next question, let me go back and catch up on the chat. That's cool. They can do that. Yeah. Revenue sharing is cool. I mean, it's a couple pennies here and there. I think there's like $20, right? But it's better than nothing. Let's see. Gray Squirrel asks, is there a band that you think most of your audience doesn't know about but should? Ooh, this is a good one. Yeah, there's a lot, actually. So for those of you who are supporters, like monthly supporters, you've seen some of these bands, because what we're doing over there is we're doing a supporter only video suggestion spot, and then we're doing a Matt suggests spot. So the supporters ask me to react to something exclusive for the supporters. So that is behind the paywall. You have to be a supporter to see those. But then I do other videos also behind that same paywall where I run you through a song that I absolutely love that you've probably never heard about. So yes, there's probably a couple bands that if I rattle off, I don't know if you know like any idea who they are, but like real quick stuff I've been listening to lately that many people probably haven't heard of is Glasslands. They're like a metalcore band. Native Construct. If you like Sleep Token, you'll like. If you like Sleep Token and Dirty Loops, you'll like Native Construct, because Native Construct is like Dirty Loops and Sleep Token fused together. It's very, very neat. The Deer Hunter, DEAR, incredible band. Artifacts Pareo is probably one of my all-time favorite bands that you've probably never heard of. Gosh, I could go down the list. There are tons that you guys probably don't know about. Declan says, if there is one happy memory from your past that you could share with your child, what is it? If there's one, well, I have a lot of happy memories from my past. I mean, just like all of us, we have happy and sad memories. If there is one happy memory from your past that you could share with your child, what is it? So my wife and I actually do make a habit of talking a lot about the good things that have happened to us with our children. So there's a chance that they've probably heard about that. Like one of my happiest memories, and this is kind of where this is like where the worship drummer part will come out, because as a Christian, the happiest day of my life was the day that I gave my heart to Jesus. And I remember that day so vividly. And I share that day on a podcast episode. I used to have a podcast back in COVID time, back in 2020. I'll see if I can find it. I don't know how to link it like now. Maybe I do. I bet I can figure this out. Hold on. You guys can probably hear my typing. But I decided to record it and put it out there, and look, it because we're talking about, like being changed lives. That episode, I do talk a lot about the bad things that I used to do and that I used to be into. I'm pretty transparent about like the kind of life that I used to live beforehand. But I found it. Can I do this? I'm going to post it in the chat. See if that'll work. Okay, so that'll take you to a website, and then you just pick whatever platform you use. The episode's available on all platforms. So I'll let that story kind of tell itself. Did he play with Sonny Rollins? Are you referring to Choppy? If so, the answer is no. Or if you're asking about Smitty, I don't know. Gay said, I picked the trumpet too, lasted longer than you, but was probably one of the only kids ever who was glad when I got braces because it hurt to use the mouthpiece. Yeah, trying to get like a real tight embouchure with braces on is pretty terrible. Okay. Ataraxia says, OMG, you just gave me PTSD flashbacks with those hard plastic snare cases. Thankfully, in middle school, I upgraded to this backpack that was much easier to manage. Yeah, I didn't have a backpack. I had to carry it with one hand and my sticks in my music stand with the other. And by the way, I have my backpack on for school. I actually invested a long time ago into this thing called a laptop snare. It's a snare drum that's literally it's like this thin. It's cool, and the snares are covered, so it sounds and it feels like a real snare drum, but it's literally this thin. They call it a laptop snare. Okay. Ron Arden was one of my college music friends at Butler University. He's a great guy and a fine musician. Oh my gosh, Anna, are we talking about the same Ron Arden? So the Ron Arden that I'm talking about, the Ron Arden that I'm talking about went on to conduct the Zion Chamber Orchestra, Lake County Symphony in Northern Illinois. Um, he works at the church. He is a viola player and a baritone vocalist as well. He has albums out and everything. If we're thinking about the same person, this would be a very small world. Okay, couple more questions here. Gay asks, I know you like to try out all different kinds of genres, but do you have a secret favorite? I don't know if I have I don't know if I have. Anna, that's the wildest thing. Ron and I still talk to this day. Let's connect offline. If you're not in the Discord, go over there and send me a message and let's connect on that. That's nuts. Yeah, we should try to figure out a way of like all three of us connecting online. I don't know if I have a secret favorite like genre. I tend to be fairly open to genres, even if the initial reaction is like what I just get myself into. Like if you guys watched the To the Hellfire reaction with Lorna Shore, I just did not see any of that coming. So I don't really know if I have a secret favorite. I try to really keep myself open. I do go through phases though. Like there's phases in my life where I'll listen to a specific genre pretty much exclusively and then I'll move on to the next. Right now, that genre, like if I could show you my most recent Spotify playlist, for example, right now, some of the artists that I've been listening to recently is let's see, I'll show you artists. So I have NF, Dirty Loops, Hollow Coves, Amanda Nauert. Amanda Nauert is a friend of mine that just released her first single. Highly recommend checking that out. Amanda Nauert. I don't know if it's not focusing. I Am Empire, Disciple, Falling in Reverse, Anchor and Braille, Sleeping Giant, Dayseeker, Eamon Amarth, Sleep Token, Animals as Leaders, Polyphia, and then like Casper Esman, who's like a singer-songwriter acoustic guy. So pretty eclectic right now, I think, but mostly kind of in the genre of a lot of metal right now. If you had to name one artist, who would be your favorite? If I was forced to pick a favorite of all time, for me, it's going to be Rush. All time, my favorite, all time. If I'm forced to pick one, it's going to be Rush. Okay, couple of questions here. Anna, that's just the wildest thing. Okay, Golden Curls. What percentage of the music you react to do you end up adding to your regular listening? And how hard is it not delving more into bands you end up liking so that you can react to them on the channel? That's a wonderful question. I'll flip them. The hardest one to not delve more into so that I'm doing authentic reactions has been Dirty Loops, for sure. I want to go down, like, I just want to listen to everything that they have, but I also want to make sure that I'm doing genuine reactions. So, but yeah, I would probably say probably 60% of the artists probably end up on my Spotify. Somebody like Ren probably doesn't as often. except for a few songs, only because some of his songs are just too like emotionally exhausting that I don't want to do that to myself in the moment. But probably 60%. Nightwish for sure. So Nightwish has their own playlist on mine that only have the songs I've reacted to so far that I can listen to. Um, so yesterday I just finished recording the entire Apex album for Unleash the Archers. That will go live in pieces later this week and next week. So thankfully, I can listen to that entire album, which is a complete banger, by the way. Thankfully, I can listen to that album and a couple of the other songs not on that album that I've done reactions to. Unleash the Archers has been another one that's been really hard to like not go full steam ahead in. Same with Nightwish. Like I really want to go all in on those, but I also I feel like I owe genuine reactions too as well. But yeah, 60%. Gay says, "Hey guys, don't forget to smash that like button to help Matt's algorithm." Thank you. Yes, please do so. That would be very helpful and super, super great. Smash the like button for sure. You can probably only do it once, but that's okay. Once helps. Ellie Scamp says, "Cool. Did you follow Drum and Bugle Corps at all?" Oh, absolutely. So growing up in Northern Illinois, I was a Cavaliers nerd. So back, I was in high school from 2000 to 2004. 2002, we got a new band director fresh out of college, and he wanted to like reactivate our marching band because he came from a college that had a very big popular marching band. He went to Northern Illinois University, and our marching band in high school was a total joke. So he comes in, and the very first thing he does, he purchases all brand new drumline equipment, Yamaha Sforzandos, top of the line, pristine, perfect condition. We had a barbecue at Choppy's house, and our job was to assemble everything and put it all together over the summer. So we did camp that year. I was really into it already, and nerded out on a practice pad. I would go to the parking lots whenever they were in town for like competitions, workshops. I went to Cavaliers camp in 2002. And then I did audition for the Cavaliers in 2003, but I got cut on the second cut. So there was another one that was a Division III corps at the time up in southern Wisconsin called the Blue Stars. Today, the Blue Stars are a Division I corps, but they used to be like the Cavaliers, the Blue Devils, the Cadets, although the Cadets, kind of sad what happened there. The Blue Stars were a Division III corps. So I auditioned for the Blue Stars, and I got to march with the Blue Stars for a year. So I did do the circuit, right? Not as big of a circuit as a Division I corps goes. But yeah, got to do 1 year like in DCI, Drum Corps International. And then actually the college that I went to didn't have doesn't still to this day. They don't have a football team, and therefore they don't have a marching band. So there's a lot of pep band stuff, basketball games, soccer games, for whatever that counts. I say that because like a pep band in a soccer game environment is really weird. So I'd usually play the basketball games. But yes, love DCI. I don't follow it much anymore, but I wonder if your audience would like DCI reactions. Well, considering I haven't like watched a proper DCI show in probably 6 to 7 years, I bet there's a lot of fresh new material for me to watch. The best show I've ever seen was I think it was the 2009 Cavaliers show, Four Corners, where that was the year that they got as close to a perfect score that's ever been achieved. I think it was like 98.9 or something like that. and they had the Fight Club scene. Yeah, that year, or maybe it was 2004, whatever year it was. Our drum, yeah, it had to be 2004. If that was the year I'm thinking of, we actually stole that drum break after that part. And they do that really cool. This might be Greek to you guys, but they do that really cool 16th note triplet diddle roll, and then half of them only use the right hand and the other half use the left hand. So you see like these, like everybody's opposite hands going up, but it still sounds like we did that at my high school, and it took us months to get it right. We also only had 5 snare drums. They have 10, so it's a little bit easier for us to do. Couple more questions that were submitted. Oh my gosh, we've already 40 minutes into this thing. Cool. This is fun. This is so fun, you guys. I like spending time with you. Okay. Let's see. One question that was submitted was, what do you do for a living? What do I do for a living? I am in sales. I'm in sales in the hotel industry. Small backstory. I've been in sales in some capacity since coming up on like 15 years. I started slinging, PlayStations and TVs at Walmart back in the day, and then sold financial services. So life insurance, IRAs, 401ks, all that stuff, term life insurance only. Big Dave Ramsey advocate over here. Then I worked for AT&T for a few years, opening stores in the St. Louis area, training salespeople there. Did a short stint playing music full-time in Branson, Missouri to kind of break up the monotony. Also had a really cool opportunity there. Played in a tribute to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra in another production for almost 12 years. From that, another production company asked me to come be part of their production in Branson full-time. So I did that full-time for about a year, learned a lot about the Branson industry, learned a lot about contracts at the time. And in 2015, I started in the hotel industry as a director of sales. And if you're thinking, what does a salesperson do in hotels, you were thinking the same thing I thought in that interview. Don't you just jump on Expedia and book a room? Well, no. Long story short, there's a lot of reasons people can be in a hotel, whether that's a corporate visit, whether it's government, sporting events, leisure travel, whatever it is. My job is to basically segment out all those different sources of business and bring them into my hotel, right? So I worked with a lot of companies to get their corporate travel into my hotel. I worked with a lot of universities to get their, the visiting teams into our hotel. Did that for many hotels over the years, reached a point where I was overseeing about 12 hotels in West Texas in training and developing their sales team. And then I switched to the technology side. So for the past 2 years, I've been in hospitality technology. Last year, I was selling business intelligence, reporting, budgeting software. Today, I sell something called commercial strategy software, which is a blend of sales, revenue management, and marketing. We try to blend all that together and look at like acquisition costs for certain pieces of business. And I won't bore you with the details. I'm in hospitality technology sales. I work from this exact place that you see me right now. I work from home. Cool. What kind of in-ears are you using? I'm using the Shure SE 425s. I've been using these. I've had these for 10 years. They feel like I got them yesterday. They are triple drivers. They sound incredible. They've been with me on every tour, every live show. Even all my shows, playing 5 shows a week in Branson, Missouri for a year. They were with me there. They go with me every time I play at church on Sundays. These are the most reliable. It's the best like $400 I've ever spent on a piece of musical equipment. I've never had to change the wires, nothing. They are so good. The Shure SE 425s. Okay, a couple more questions in the chat. Michael asks, don't you have a problem as a Christian with listening to Sleep Token because they claim to worship the god sleep through their music, or do you think that's just a marketing thing? It's a deep question. I actually don't I actually don't know a lot about their like the story part of their music. I don't I didn't know that. I didn't know about worshiping the god sleep through their music. Um I mean it's possible that it's a marketing thing. I don't really care. It's a good question, and I'll kind of generalize it more to just like music in general, because a lot of the music that that I react to are not really of Christian nature, and in fact, some are kind of anti that. Um, but I would probably say to that question that um, I like to think of my faith being mature enough where things like that just like won't shake. Like, I know what I believe, I'm firm in what I believe, I know why I believe what I believe, both from a spiritual, hermeneutic, and a, like an apologetic scientific sense as well. I know why I believe what I believe. So music and somebody else's message like isn't really going to sway me away from that, because I'm pretty grounded in why I believe what I believe. um Sleep Token's music is just freaking incredible. Like, it's legit good. Uh, like, I would say if you're being swayed to believe something because somebody is singing about it, I mean, like, that's I would just I might do like a little pulse check on who you're letting speak into your life. I don't allow Sleep Token to speak into my beliefs. I allow them to entertain me with music, if that makes sense. Um, did you know Floor Jansen covered Frozen songs? Maybe fun for your daughter to listen to. I did know that. She does, I think, both of the big Frozen songs, right? Let It Go and what's the what's the big song from the second movie? I've already forgotten it. But yeah, I did know that. My daughter, Ziva, she has expressed interest, but her interests, like, she's 12, so like her interests move all over the place. Um, into the unknown. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So she's also kind of past the point as well. When Frozen first came out, gosh, we watched it, I don't know, 5 times a day. When Frozen 2 came out, same story, except we didn't watch it as much, but my daughter sang that song at the top of her lungs, and she can't hold a note. But God bless her passion. I did know that. Yeah, she's expressed interest about being back on the channel. She did a couple of like the random Nightwish polls, but I think she gets more joy of like seeing herself on the screen instead of actually what she's saying. I'll talk to her and see. I think it'd be fun. Gay said Flora can sing just about anything. Love all the solos she did during lockdown. Oh, I didn't know that. Shallow is amazing. Shallow. Is that a Antal? Is that, well, first of all, am I saying your name correctly? Second of all, is that a Sleep Token song? Did you see where she has started up her week? I did see Floor is doing Coffee with Floor. Yeah, I did see that. What up, Aditsu? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Aditsu. Ataraxia asks, what's your favorite praise and worship song to play? Oh, that's a good question. There have been times where I've had favorites over the years. When I first started, like 15 years ago in church, I attended a church that was very like rock and roll. Um, and I don't know if any of you guys know this song, but we would do songs like Break Free by Hillsong United, which is a really cool song for drums. Um, at the same time, we would do a song by the City Manifesto called, I don't know, but the bridge was like the Lord's Prayer. City Manifesto, it was very epic. And we kind of put our own twist on it. I would do like a little double kick thing in the bridge in church. Yeah. I don't do that anymore. Today, let's see. I mean, this morning we played a really, really cool song. We played a song called "Praise" by Brandon Lake and Elevation Worship, and that's got a really cool kind of like a tribal boom, doom, 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 like a really cool tribal feel to it. That was oh, thank you. I also appreciate that. That was fun today. I also like just there are songs that I like to play, and there are songs that I just like to be part of. Like I there are songs that are fun to play from a drummer's perspective. Then there are songs to play that are generally pretty easy, but being part of the whole has its own experience, if that makes sense. And an example of that would be this morning we also did a song called "Worthy of It All" by Upper Room, and that's a beautiful song, very like nothing complex about it. Um, but it is a beautiful song. I love to play it because I love being part of what the song like brings to the people. Great question. Great. But the favorite praise and worship song has like changed over the years. There actually there is a so off that same album that Break Free is on with Hillsong United is also a song called Salvation Is Here. It's got a wicked bass solo. That's a fun song. There were a couple Lincoln Brewster albums that were also really, really fun to play. At my church back in St. Louis, we had a virtuoso guitar player. I think he's on YouTube. His name is Eric Strothers, Strothers. Eric Strothers. He also has a really popular Star Wars podcast for all you Star Wars folks in the room. The Star Wars podcast that he hosts is called The Bad Motivators. Eric is an amazing guitar player, and which afforded us the ability to play like a lot of Lincoln Brewster music because Lincoln Brewster's like this virtuoso guitar player. We played this song off of one of Lincoln Brewster's older albums called "Let Your Glory Shine." I got to see if I can find this somewhere because the guitar solo in that song is unbelievable. Man, it's so cool. And just like the general feel of the song is also awesome. Okay, are there any more questions? Let's see here. Getting onto our chat, and there's a couple more questions. What books are on the shelf behind you? Oh my gosh. I have like 5 bookshelves in my house. I love to read. There's one over there. There's one right there. There's one right here. And there's a couple out in the living room as well. These are books that have like have had the most impact on me over the years. And I'll just read them to you. So From This Way to This Way is This Anything by Jerry Seinfeld. This is basically a book of 30 years of Jerry Seinfeld jokes. So just a good laugh. Next to that is a book called Dream Big by Bob Goff. Next to that is a book called Own Your Past, Change Your Future by Dr. John Deloney. And then there's The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. If there's any business leaders watching this, Infinite Game by Simon Sinek, must read for you. The one after that is called Resistant by John Eldredge, who also wrote a very famous book called Wild at Heart. Then there's a book called Redeeming Your Time by Jordan Rayner. Best time management book I've ever read. And I've read a lot of them in the business world. This is the best one, Redeeming Your Time by Jordan Rayner. Then there's a book by Max Lucado just called Jesus. There's a book by Dr. Caroline Leaf called Switch On Your Brain, about like how your brain actually functions as an organ. It's a very neat book. Next to that on the top shelf is a book called The 7 Decisions by Andy Andrews. And then one shelf down is Undistracted by Bob Goff, big Bob Goff fan. Next to that is a book called Unashamed by Christine Kane. The Compassionate Samurai by Brian Clemmer, also must read for any business leaders in the chat. The Compassionate Samurai by Brian Clemmer. Next to that is a book by Pastor Rich Villodas called The Richly Formed Life, or The Deeply Formed Life, excuse me. After that is a book by Australian pastor named John Tyson called Beautiful Resistance. Eugene Cho, also a pastor, also the CEO of a ministry called Bread for Life. Great. They do great work trying to solve the world's hunger problems. Amazing, amazing guy, Eugene Cho. This book came out in 2020 or in 2019, and it's called Thou Shalt Not Be a Jerk. And it's basically a like field manual on how Christians can lovingly interact with the world of politics without being a jerk. After that is the biography of Beethoven. And then on the far left is the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Those are my books. But I've got a lot more books. These are just the ones that have had kind of the most impact on me. What I'm going to be reading next is a book called Hind's Feet in High Places. And then I'll move on to the 3-Body Problem trilogy. I used to read a lot of nonfiction books, and I like made it a goal to read, 2 a month. So I started reading 20 to 24 a year. But then I found myself like not really retaining what I was reading. And the important part of a nonfiction book is to retain the lessons you're learning while you're reading it. So I've decided to shave that down to 1 every 2 months, really go deep on the material, study it, internalize it, read chapters over if I need to really get the most out of this book. And then I'll actually fill in the in-betweens with fiction books. So I've really just recently got into reading more regular fiction novels. A big fan of everything Dan Brown has ever written. All the Robert Landon series, the Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, Inferno, all those. I like Ted Decker. I've recently been reading Andy Weir and Blake Crouch. I read the book Dark Matter, and then Apple TV Plus released it as a show. The show has been really good as well. I think they've released 8 episodes. And then I watched the 3-Body Problem on Netflix, which was unreal. So I want to read that whole trilogy before the next season comes out. Okay, we're wrapping up. We're coming to the top of the hour. I cannot believe it's been an hour already. This has been so fun hanging out with you guys. Holy cow. And thank you for being here with me today. And for anybody watching this after it's already ended, thank you as well for spending some of your time with the TECKreacts community. Look, I'm so grateful. 90 days ago, when I decided to like launch the channel, I had no idea. I thought maybe like 3 people would watch, because I just love listening to music. I like watching reaction videos. And I didn't think that this would turn into anything, but the fact that almost 10,000 of you in 90 days have showed up to just be part of the journey has been very, very exciting to me. The fact that the Discord just continues to grow. A lot of you guys have reached out to like engage in conversations about like some hard hitting topics. Gay, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thanks for a great chat, Matt, for the new equipment fund. Thank you. Gosh, you guys are gonna make me cry. I'm very grateful for like every single one of you, and I am especially grateful for those of you who have decided to support the channel financially. It really does mean a whole heck of a lot. And we use that for like equipment and stuff to make sure that I'm producing the best content available. Michael, that's where I saw your name. Thank you so much for supporting, man. I really appreciate that. Guys, thank you. We're at the top of the hour. This has been so much fun. We're definitely going to do something for the 10,000 subscribers. We're going to throw a big old party. It's going to be a big old thing. I'm going to be out of town. I go to North Carolina here in tomorrow morning, actually, for a couple days, and then we go to Southern Illinois to see some family for a couple of weeks. The videos will continue to come out. I'm still available via the Discord. Shoot me a message. Let's connect over there. Still be answering comments, all that type of stuff as the videos begin to roll out. But thank you. Appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful Sunday and an even better week. Appreciate you.